Hello YouTube, this is Benzo from Volumoto Customs. Thank you so much for joining. In this one we're doing something super exciting because it's finally time to unveil the Triumph Daytona project I promised you guys during the summertime. So behind me you can see the Triumph Daytona T595 frame from '97, and it's all standing on the workshop lift that we've built in the previous video. So if you want to check that out, click here in the corner. The Daytona T595 was the first bike in Triumph's lineup that deviated from the tall spine-framed, heavy-engine beast that the brand produced at the time. This model came out in 1997 as a very fair competitor to the super popular Honda Fireblade. It was a bit heavier and made slightly less power, but the Daytona packed a seriously grunty mid-range and it was an excellent road bike. The bike came with a 955c inline triple engine with fuel injection that produced 128 horsepower by the factory's claim. It was paired with a 6-speed gearbox and chain drive. The bike is based on a tube-type aluminium frame paired with a mono swing arm and is kitted with fully adjustable Showa suspension both in the front and the rear. For stopping power, the Daytona was given 4-piston calipers in the front with dual 320mm discs. This bike was famous for its growly triple experience, good looks and fine handling. The only real downsides were the somewhat agricultural gearbox and the fairly small 18-liter tank, which meant pit stops were frequent during touring. The story of this bike starts for me about a year ago, when one evening I was going through the used market and I found this ad trying to sell the bike completely disassembled. So I decided to go ahead and check it out because the price was very good, and I went there the next day to talk to the seller. He told me that the bike was imported from the UK many years ago by one of his friends, and when imported it was put to MOT and it had run pretty well and everything was fine. But then the registration tax was so high that he decided not to pay it, instead took it apart to get it rebuilt. I'm not really sure if all of that is true. I got the paperwork for both the bike and the MOT, so up until that point it's definitely true. But then I went ahead and looked at the parts and everything seemed to be in fairly good condition, and I concluded that this bike was taken apart with the intention of it going back together again. All the cables, all the connectors, everything is labeled up properly, all the bolts and bits are packed separately in bags and labeled. So I decided to go ahead and purchase the bike, and I guess we're gonna have to find out if there's anything seriously wrong with the engine or any other parts. But I already got some extra parts that were purchased for the rebuild, and I also got some extra parts such as an extra exhaust, handlebar risers and an extra handlebar, an extra rear set, some levers, some carbon fiber parts. So it seemed like a pretty good deal and I went ahead with the purchase. My plan is with the bike is to build it back to its factory standard, basically bringing it back to its original glory. Currently the bike is black, but I really don't like this black color, and I'm absolutely in love with the original Triumph yellow that it came in as well, so we'll also be repainting the bike. I also want to look into the engine just to make sure that we're building the bike on a very solid foundation, and of course we're gonna go through each and every part of the bike as it's going back together. Here are a few things that we're gonna be looking at in the next couple videos. We're gonna be taking a look at the complete front end, rebuilding the forks, replacing the steering head bearings. We're also going to look at the rear end, replacing all the bearings in the swing arm as well as the rear drive and the rear shock linkage. We're also gonna completely rebuild the rear shock because it's in a very bad state as it looks right now. We're also going to go through all the brakes, rebuilding the calipers and the master cylinders, make sure that everything is as it's supposed to be. We're gonna also completely go through the wiring harness. It looks okay, but to be honest, I would like to make sure that there's no electrical gremlins later on, so we're gonna be refreshing the wiring harness as well completely. These are the first steps that I want to go through, and there's of course a lot more to come. So if you're interested in all this, please make sure that you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!